David Locke, and this is my blog, Boots and Bow Ties, about everything cooking, gardening, and home. And today I'm going to teach you to make one of the first things that I learned to make, Parmesan crackers. They're great with a salad, they're great with cocktails, they're great with a charcuterie board, and they have very few ingredients and they're really easy to make. This is the first cookbook I ever bought. I was probably about 14 years old, Martha Stewart's Menus for Entertaining, and the recipe is in this book, but I've changed it a little bit over the years. I've made it a little bit more hot, and I've also replaced the pastry cutter and have replaced it with the food processor. And so I do everything in the food processor. I even grate my cheese in the food processor, which makes it take such little less time. So let's go over what you're going to need. I've laid out my mise en place here, meaning everything in its place. We're going to want some ice water. We're going to want about 1/4 cup of poppy seeds. We're going to want 1.5 cups of Parmesan that we're going to, instead of grate, we're going to put it in the food processor and break it up. We're going to want, instead of cayenne pepper that the original recipe calls for, I use chipotle pepper. I use about 1/4 teaspoon. We're going to want some pepper, some salt, 3/4 cup of flour, the yolk of 1 egg, and 1/2 stick of butter that you've cut into little pieces, and a tablespoon of lemon. You want to make sure that you're keeping all of your ingredients very ice cold, just as if you were making pastry. And basically, if you've ever made pâte brise, which I have a blog about that's simple pie crust, this is very similar to the way you make it in the food processor. So let's take a look at how we assemble all of the ingredients. What we'll do after we put everything together and we get our nice little ball together, we'll put it on plastic wrap, roll it into a little log, put it in the refrigerator for about an hour to chill it, then we'll cut it in little medallions, shake our poppy seeds on it, and then bake it in the oven, and then voila, you're done, and they'll keep for several days in an airtight container. Let me teach you this handy dandy helpful hint. One day I was making pesto, and I hate to grate Parmesan. It is the bane of my existence. That grating, it just takes forever, and I didn't have a lot of time. So what I did, I just simply threw my Parmesan into the food processor and grated it up, and then made my pesto in my food processor. So basically, if a recipe calls for grated Parmesan, what I do is I take my slice of Parmesan, cut it into some pieces, and then put it in the food processor and give it a pulse or two until it's a very nice powdery consistency. Why would you want to use this versus the Parmesan cheese in the can? A lot of that Parmesan has cellulose mixed in with it to keep it from caking. It also has preservatives and anti-caking agents. Cellulose is essentially wood, and also nothing beats the fresh taste of freshly grated cheese. So it's cheaper, it's better for you because it doesn't have preservatives in it, and it tastes great, so why wouldn't you do it? So what I'll do is I just start pulsing it, and you can see it's already beginning to break down. Be patient with it, pulse it a lot until you get a really nice powdery consistency. So let's assemble the dough. So one of the things I do first is I put down an ample piece of plastic wrap, so it just makes it so much easier rather than fumbling with it. I've already got my cheese in the food processor, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my dry ingredients in first. I'm going to put my 3/4 cup of flour, my salt, my chipotle pepper, and my pepper. And then I'll just give that a nice pulse. Mix all that together. Now I've taken the 2 tablespoons of water, the tablespoon of lemon juice, and the egg yolk, and I've mixed those nicely together. Then what I'll do is I'll put in the butter, and I'm going to process this a little bit until it resembles a coarse meal, just like you would if you were making pie crust. See, there we go. It looks like a very nice coarse meal. Now, through the feed tube, I'm just going to slowly feed the liquid ingredients with it running until it begins to form a ball. You don't want to overwork it. And there we go. It's begun to sort of come together. It's not in a full ball. Then we're going to just dump this out into our plastic wrap. And then we're sort of going to knead it a little bit. You don't want to knead it too much. Again, you don't want to overwork the dough. And then just sort of begin rolling it into a snake, just like you did when you were in elementary school in art with your Play-Doh. And that's about right. You want it about 1.5 inches in diameter. And then we'll cover that over with our plastic wrap. I give it another couple little rolls. Make sure it's nice and formed, and then I'll just put this in the refrigerator for an hour, and then we'll cut it into the crackers. My dough has chilled for an hour, and now I can easily cut it. Form your crackers into perfect little rounds. Put them on parchment or Silpat. Sprinkle with a little bit of poppy seed, and put them in a 375-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're golden brown.